the industry will use you and spit you out. So learn every avenue and be passionate about it. Because if you think you're just doing it for the fame, you can be famous and broke. And it's a very hard place to be. I have been there. It is painful.
Welcome to another episode of SOQ Conversations with me, Ellie Karras. My guest today is an award-winning Ghanaian media personality, and she is one of the few to have commenced her media career at a very young age, at the age of 16. Anajua Akwako Sarpong is her name, popularly known as AJ. My AJ Slay J. Welcome, Queen.
Thank you. I was like, are you describing me?
Who else, AJ?
Thank you for having me.
I'm so honored, like I said, I'm so honored to have you.
Thank you for having me. Finally, I'm on side of me.
AJ.
Yes.
Where do I start
Where
from?
do you start from?
So AJ, I started watching you, I think, senior high school or youth days. Yeah, on this show, Moonlight. Is it
Yes,
Moonlight
on Friday mornings. It was,
Yes.
with, I can't remember his name.
Yes, I also remember.
Mutala or
Yeah,
something.
Mutala,
Charlie.
yeah. Honestly speaking, that was when I started watching you.
Wow.
And I admired how you spoke so eloquently.
That's when I think I was still a teenager.
Yeah,
I was still a teenager.
I was just like, who is this lady? You were a regular guest and also an entertainment panel.
Yes.
It's like, who is this lady? You spoke so well, and I really admired you then. And fortunately for me, I got to work with you years after. And my admiration for you keeps growing, AJ. And I also, learn a bit of
Hey, come on.
So you inspire me. You inspire a lot of people out there. And I'm really proud of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on. We're adjusting our crowds here.
Thank you so much, AJ. Thank you. I know you, but my viewers, everyone knows AJ. But apart from being a real life princess, yes, AJ is a real life princess. AJ, who is AJ apart from being a real life princess?
That's always a very hard question to answer. I'm someone who has a great sense of humor. I love to laugh. I think I was born laughing, honestly. I'm very chilled, one of the most easygoing people in terms of my temperament. I hardly ever get angry. I'm a media person. Started off from behind the scenes doing production work, then to the front of the scenes doing radio work, then to television, and then fast forward doing both radio and television. Well, obviously I'm a real life princess, come on. But beyond that, I think I'm someone who is always striving to be a better person. In everything I do, in everywhere I go, I always feel the need to learn more and be better. And I think I'm a constant work in progress, honestly.
So AJ is princess of renowned daughter of renowned traditional ruler Nana Akwako
Sarpong, yes.
Sarpong, yes. So AJ is not just she's not just acting, but she's a real life princess. I want to find out from you, how was growing up for you being a whole princess and you starting your career at an early age?
Yeah, growing up, it was my version of normal. So what I got, as I've grown up to realize, my normal was not everyone's normal. Like, I thought having bodyguards around was something that everyone did. But I mean, I thought having a father that was constantly up and about was something that everyone's dad was. But I grew up to realize that I'm not having a very normal life. But it was actually really good. So in between all the craziness that was my father's life and career and statesmanship, he still found time for all of us kids. I remember being put in the car and then we'll drive to go and get ice cream or go and buy papaya when papaya just opened. And he would always make time for us. He would take us to the tennis club. He would show us off. He forced us to play tennis. My mother would force us to learn piano. Like, we had activities. We had a full life of activities beyond just school. And then growing up, I realized that, he is who he is. But one thing that also, having a father like that also made me try and run away from him. So it only took me changing officially my name to AJ Akwako Sarpong in 2018 when I moved to city at the instance of my boss. So my boss was like, you have to add Akwako Sarpong. But for like 10 years, I've been AJ Sarpong. So I literally made a career. Enslaved JT. I made a career with just the name Sarpong. I didn't want to be associated with my father in any way. So for years, nobody knew I was his daughter. And that's how I wanted it to be. Because in my head, if I do it and I don't do it well, anything will be attributed to Nana Papa Sarpong's daughter is, or Phil's at, or whatever it is. So I wanted to have a career beyond him. So never mentioned his name anywhere, never used any of his connections to get to any part of where I was, always kept it low and then just got it done. So the only time people realized I was his daughter is when they had to look at my passports or maybe any official documentation. Are you related to him? And I'll be like, yes, he's my grandfather, or yes, uncle or something. But I never wanted to be associated with him. So, and in fact, he never knew I was in media. Can you imagine? So most of my career, he just knew I was working somewhere. He didn't really care what I was doing, as long as I kept out of trouble. So it was recently that he got to know that I'm actually in media. And then his friends started reaching out to me and telling me, oh, your daughter is doing well, oh. Then now he's always like, hey, so yeah, so that's how my upbringing went, how that sort of changed or affected how I started off in media. Yeah.
It reminds me of my story. So for me, it's a bit different. My dad didn't like the idea of me doing media. But when I started at his friends,
yes. Oh, okay. It's not bad.
To the extent that you were just like, why are you using Elikaris?
Choose my name. Use my name. Let everyone know you're my daughter.
Well, I understand. I get your point.
Yeah.
AJ, you've been in this industry for, you've had over 14 years of experience, and you started your career at a very young age. How did you know that this is it? This was what I was going to do for the rest of my life?
When I finished university. So before I finished university, I thought it was something I would just do on the side. I never thought that it was going to be something I would use as a career. So it took me doing my national service at GH1 for me to think I can actually, so when I was about to do my finishing final year, and I was thinking to myself, what do I want to do? Then I realized law is something I wasn't really interested in. Even though my father had always made his point that I'll be the second lawyer in the family, but I didn't want to do law. So I figured, let me try national service with GH1 because I'd been freelancing with them for a bit. We were working with Charterhouse at that time, and I was working with you. So I was like, you know what? Let me give it 1 year. Then let me do my national service there. And let me learn everything behind the scenes. And if I'm able, and it's like a prayer I had between me and God that if he sees it fit for me to transition from behind the scenes to in front of the camera by the end of the year, then I will do media. If not, I will do law. So it was like my unspoken rule between me and my God. So initially we started off, it was hard because I had been doing like freelancing with them. So it was very different how they treat the contract staff or someone that comes every Wednesday to do deals. And it was very different how I think that the rest were treating me that I was now, working full-time there.
I was there.
So I went from, AJ, nice to see you, to AJ, go and buy meat pie. To AJ, go and sweep the set.
Story of all
interns, every national service to go and buy wache. I'm like, you guys know me, oh. I come here, I drive here, like princess. You guys were rating me, oh. But it was one of those things. So I would literally go from sweeping the tail sets to running to and sit on the tail set as a pundit.
Or getting your guests ready. I saw that.
And then we'll do late nights with Charterhouse Productions, and then we'll be doing events. And one thing, and let me digress a little, that VGMAs mean so much to me is I've gone from being the person that parks people's cars in the parking lots at the VGMAs, being in charge of the car protocol. You never get to see the main events, to another year being in charge of protocol for award presenters.
Then you get
to being in charge of being part of the producers. To being in charge of now coordinating the invites, to being in charge of now moving to the producing aspect. You were moving from level to level to level, and I was always the one dressed in black, running in the background. To one point, 1 year, I was on tails, and then Atefa gave us all invites to attend. And it was the best thing ever. I can attend, dress in a nice dress.
You can also walk
on the red carpet like a celebrity. Oh my God. And then actually hosting the event. So that's how my life has been, very full circle moments where I've gone from behind the scenes to in front of it. So literally, back to the story, 1 year later, then GH1 decided to do a version of a morning show, like a 3-woman panel that would do issues. And just when we're about to start, go for by EIB, and then fast forward, that whole journey began. And literally, even before National Service had ended, I've gotten like 2 more offers at other stations and had reached out and said, you know what, we also want you to come and do sort of something similar with a breakfast show in other stations. And then I said, you know what, I think GH1 might work. So I said no to that, and that was my confirmation that this media thing, I think it's time for you to go all in. And then fast forward, here it is.
Wow. You paid your dues.
I have. But you feel like you never stop paying your dues. Every time you move to a different place, you have to pay more dues. And I think that's the one thing people don't get. You assume that 10 years in, you paid all the dues that you can pay. But then you move into another position, and then you have to pay your dues there again. And you move to another one, and you still have to pay your dues. It never ends. So I think you get to the pinnacle. Even if you become you get into the C-suite, and you become a CEO or something else, so you still have to pay your dues. And once you see it as a learning process, it becomes easier.
AJ, we are still talking about, how young you started this career. Enlighten us. Were there some benefits to starting at a very early age? Did it offer you more stable and secure career building in a way?
So yeah, absolutely. I think starting early does give you a whole lot of benefits. You can make any mistake you want. You can goof, you can flounder, you can do everything, and nobody will judge you harshly because you're a newbie. I mean, you're allowed to make your mistakes. If you are more established or people know you a bit more, they judge you very harshly. They expect you to do better. They expect you to know more. They expect you to be well-rounded before you even come to them. So it gave me a lot of opportunity to grow because I could do as much as I want. I could be as creative as I want. I could be as crazy as I want. I could change my style. I could change my looks. And nobody will really care. But it's when I started getting a bit more notice that people started to judge me a lot more harshly. And I realized that the liberties I used to take as in the beginning, I can't take anymore. And I look at those that start sort of straight into it, and then how easy it is to be judged very harshly. And you realize that, Charlie, there's a possibility where it can break you if you don't get the right kind of foundation, which starting early gives you.
But how did you handle all these criticisms? I
have tough skin, and one thing that has helped me a lot is when you judge me, I know you're judging my work, not me as a person. And that's the one thing that has saved me a lot. So when people are very critical, you're criticizing my work, not me. Do you understand? If I don't say the right thing, it's me in that capacity that you're criticizing, not AJ as a person. And a lot of my colleagues I see that take criticism very to heart, that you're criticizing me and not my work, actually end up having a very hard time. But no matter what it is, if you think I didn't pronounce a word well, if you think I'm not doing something right, if you think I can do something better, it's always criticism of my work. And I take it. And I will take everything and every critical piece that is thrown at me, and I used to build myself and make it better.
At the end of the day, your mental well-being
Literally.
is also
There's some days I'm literally like, no, what? It's okay. Shut down and go to bed.
Wow, this industry, yeah.
But
Let's talk about some of your moments, your breakthroughs, and every other thing that comes with it. You double as, apart from being a radio TV presenter, you're an actress, MC, face of some of the big brands in Ghana.
Yes.
AJ, what are some of the most exciting things for you in the industry so far?
I think the industry is changing in ways that is very fascinating to see. People are moving more from traditional media to more on demand, to looking at content as it goes, are looking for more easy to consume content. And it's pushing us all to try and reinvent ourselves and how we perceive our audience and our fans and our demographics. You have to work more, you have to do better. And it's challenging in that respect as well, because now you have to be thinking more on the go. But then one thing that helps me is I'm always constantly searching for how to improve and how to do it better. So I've gone back to school to learn digitalization. Like I want to learn and be more well-rounded. And to me, it's not about how many people know my name or how many people care what I do, but it's more how much of an impact can I make? How good can I be? How much lives I can impact? How many stories I can tell better? So it's constantly about how can I improve as against who cares about me. So honest to God, when I see people who like me or who recognize me or who, even by my laughter, know who I am, I'm still not used to it. It's still very new because it was never the end goal. The end goal was always to be the best presenter ever. I didn't realize that being good, well, not that I didn't realize, I didn't think it would happen to me. That being good means that people actually care about you, not your work. So it's been interesting to adjust to it, but it's been good so far. But the industry is changing, and so long as people reinvent themselves, it will not leave you by,
Talking about impact, let's touch on women in media. Undoubtedly, we have made significant contributions in media across the globe.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? And personally, what do you think we can do more or better?
In as much as women are doing great things and we are getting some representation, we're not getting a lot of representation. We need to change the perceptions. More well-educated women, more women that are speaking on the issues, more women in politics, more women speaking about politics, more women speaking about policy. The more we'll see better acceptance of women in charge or being leaders. Because let's face it, when a woman fails, people judge all women. So if a woman is put in a position, she fails. It suddenly becomes a conversation about women are not meant to lead. But when a man fails, that man was just bad, you guess. So the more we see more representation of women doing greater things, doing better things, advancing in more ways, and not just one woman in one place somewhere, or the need to place a woman there as a token, as against a woman there by merit. We will not achieve the parity that we want. So we need to be more intentional about placing more women in positions. I am so excited about the future of women and how well we're doing. And I know that there's room to do more. So in everywhere I go, I ensure that as I'm doing it, I'm leaving the door open for someone to come through. I'll give you an example. When I was on CBS on the Breakfast Show, I was the youngest female to be on that show. I was largely the youngest female on radio in the mornings at that point in time. And I was scared. And it was like the most stressful 1 year of my entire life because I was not only there representing AJ, I was representing every young woman that would ever want to be placed on that position. So there was so much pressure, and it was internal pressure because if I don't do the right thing, if I don't excel the way that I hope to, if I do not create the mark that I want to, the next woman that comes in will not be given the opportunity because it'll be like, oh, yeah, then my AJ and she didn't, or I gave it to, or we gave it to AJ, we gave AJ the opportunity and she didn't excel. So that 1 year was like one of the hardest, and I was very hard on myself because I thought I wasn't getting the results that I hoped to. But then my former boss sat me aside and told me that I'm being too hard on myself because I had come from literally the most opposite point and had been dropped into the middle of the ocean and I had to sink or swim. And because I wasn't doing breaststrokes like a professional swimmer, I thought that I had failed. But I was paddling. I was wading in the water and it wasn't so bad. But the audience that I was dealing with was a very, very discerning, very mature, very on the beat, very critical audience. And they were not forgiving my mistakes as much as they were. And then he said one thing that stood out to me, that if others had recognized the way they started, they would see that what I'm doing is 100 times better than how they were. So I should be a bit more forgiving of myself for my mistakes. And that's what was able to get me out of my head. But in that position, I knew that I was representing not myself, but every young woman that ever wanted to be placed in that position. And I had to do it for them. So in everywhere that we go as media women, we are not only presenting ourselves and our work, but representing those that want the opportunity to be there. If I do it well, the next one, someone can do it better. And that door will be open for the next people to come through. So that's one thing that has always dictated what I do in the media and how I perceive women in media, and ensuring that in whatever I do, I need to leave the door open for someone else. Yeah.
Representation really matters.
Honestly.
And your works have impacted, many women across the globe, myself included.
Come on.
AJ,
Yeah.
I know you're passionate about giving back to the society. Can you tell us about your foundation?
Yeah.
Also, how are you getting colleagues in the industry to get involved or photos you get?
I have obviously the AG Foundation, which focuses on just giving back in terms of material support. So food items, monetary items, like things that we can be able to give back into deprived communities. I largely focus on widows and young mothers. And I've done that in quite a few communities in the Pram district. We've gone to the Zongo communities a few times and done that. And as well, I also have a organization I opened with a friend of mine called Elevate Her, which focuses on education and building up young ladies. So we go to schools where young ladies frequent, obviously, between the age of 13 to 15, and just have sessions with them and speak to them about opportunities that they can conquer and show them that life is beyond their community or their neighborhood. There's a lot more they can do. They can focus in different avenues and different places, in tech, in medicine, in media, and bring people that can motivate them to do so. And as well, once they get into past junior high school and enter into SHS or need certain internship opportunities, we're able to link them so that they just know that there's life that is there to be taken. Because sometimes when you grow up and what you see can limit your view on life. You could think that maybe the best I can do is this until someone shows you that there's a bigger and better life out there. You get. So that's what me and my friend decided to do, to show young ladies that there is a bigger and better life out there that they can touch, they can grab, they can do, so long as they know exactly what to do.
Thank you for that. For young people looking forward to pursue their careers at a very young age, what advice do you have for them? You have succeeded in that.
Start small. So a lot of people, and I get that quite a bit, when people I want to be like you, I want to do that. But the first thing they say is, can you give me a spot to come at work? I can't give you that. I'm an employee. I have an HR person I go to. But one thing that helped me when I started was I started small. So I looked for small stations that couldn't pay me, honestly. And I'll tell you something. For the first 6 years of my career, I didn't get 1 cedi. I didn't get paid. I didn't even get transport. I worked for free for 5 to 6 years. And the first time I got a paycheck, I thought, wow, I can get paid for this? Oh, I'm stuck. But in all seriousness, you start small. So go to that community radio station, that small YouTube channel that needs help, that blog that needs someone that wants to write, and just offer to write and learn. Because learning and being well-rounded in this industry is what will keep you in the industry. Because if you think, okay, I have a great voice, I have a great look, or I can smile at the camera, and that's all that you bring to the table, eventually the industry will fade you out because there'll be another pretty face, there'll be another strong voice that will come in and that will get it done. But if you have gone through the mill, you have learned from every angle, you know the industry in and out, you have qualifications that can guarantee you work as a consultant or as a small boutique firm or something, and you have learned and created those, you've curated all that information, that connection, you will stay in the industry for a very long time. But if you think, I can do it, so let me do it, and the industry will use you and stitch you out. So learn every avenue and be passionate about it. Because if you think you're just doing it for the fame, you can be famous and broke. And it's a very hard place. I have been there. It is painful. And it does become a sustainable lifestyle because the perks are nice, but it's a lot of hard work behind these perks. We get free clothes, yes. But by the time you're done, now what the photos you've taken, now what the work you've done, you regret it. So largely just start small, be passionate, learn as much as you can, have a learning spirit, and that will literally get you through everything. And above all, pray, because at the center of all of this, my entire journey has been God. Because some of the things I pray for, and one day waking up and knowing that I'm living my dream, I'm living my prayer, I cannot even count how many times this happened to me. There are things that I pray for that I got a huge no for, and I fast forward, woke up and realized that, wait, that exactly what I prayed for God, to God, is what I'm now currently in. It's outstanding. And prayer will see you through no matter what.
What are the most important values you've carried with you throughout your career?
Important values. Being passionate about what I do. Living, eating, breathing my work. Being prayerful. Keeping God center in everything I do. And finally, having a learning spirit. And then, last but certainly not the least, it will be striving to be better. Always. There's a constant need for me to do better, be better. And when I feel that I'm too comfortable and I'm not at peace, like there's something that's wrong, I can't be too comfortable. It's never something that I want to be. So when I realize that I am, I start to really question everything. What's going on? Why am I coasting? What can I do to be better? So those are definitely values that I hold close to my heart.
Time for SOQC fun moments where I ask you random questions.
Okay.
Because we need to see the other side
Come on,
of you.
let's do this.
So AJ,
Yes.
if you had to switch professions with someone, what would it be and why?
I will switch with the president though. But I think I would like to switch with the president. Not for a deal. I want to be president for like 4 years. Yeah, then I can really help the world.
Okay, on that note, we toast to the first few.
Yes, come on.
President, Her Excellency,
Yeah.
Nanajua,
I like it. Excellence.
Okay, thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, you've inspired a lot of people, including myself. We appreciate the excellence, of your works in media, and this has been very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
We bring you
Yeah,
back
come
again
on. I like
when
it.
you become president.
Yeah. Then we'll do that. We'll do the presidential episode.
All right.
And then I will, we'll do it in the motorcade. You get chilled, and then the cars will be there. We'll just be like, clear the road, clear traffic.
For
And
Shine
then
on
we'll do
Queen,
it.
maybe season 5. It's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Season
Please.
5.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Mommy,
We love
thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you
And
for
I'm
having
so
me.
proud of you. Keep shining, Queen.
Thank you, babe.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this insightful episode of SOQ Conversations. My name is Ellie Karis. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And yeah, see you on the next episode. Mwah!